new positions and like that. So startups are just so flexible. Yeah. So even if like you want to do some coding job or you want to do some other business development job and that position is not officially available on their website, apply to Eagles. Just get a interview. Just get in the door, talk to the guy, and just be like, hey, can I also do that? You know, and that.
Kevin got a couple offers. What was the company you ended up going with?
I went with 2 companies.
Okay. Because he was also talking to my buddy Dan Martell from Flowtown, which, you know, applicable.
Crazy guy.
Startup.
Yeah.
Go.
What kind of, that was weird. Okay. Well, what kind of skills do you recommend like building on right now? Like, cause I know even if like you're looking for them to create a position for you in your company, in their company, then you still have to have marketable skills. So what kind of skills do you recommend like working on?
So I'm always strong whenever I hire people into my team. I actually like people who haven't done as much and even don't have as much experience because they have a lot more to prove. And so when I try to like develop myself and look for other people, it's people who have great time management skills, some past experience of doing something awesome, building something awesome, and have the right kind of sense about how to work with people, and who are open to change, like open to feedback, open to changing what they do, not stubborn. And I know that's not really an answer. I mean, if you want a coding job, learn CSS, learn Java, play around with Ruby on Rails. But like, I mean, there are those tangible skills, but a lot of this stuff, especially at your age, is just stuff that if you put your head down and just work your ass off, you can learn it. And so just proving that you're really hardworking, you can work in a team, and you're open to change.
And just being able to read a little bit of stuff on whatever some CEO thing that doesn't want to read, because CEOs don't read. They go to parties, they manage their relationships sort of, they don't read, they don't do deep dives in reading. Or if you just heard somebody's book report, I mean, believe it or not, you can be a guy's book report where you just read things that they should be reading and you just regurgitate to them.
Will you sell yourself like that? Like, as that?
A little bit, where you say, well, what are a couple things that you would read if you had more time? Or what are some, because if a person's got a blow in and go in company, there's always some peripheral thing that they're exploring that they want to do, but they'll just hand off to an intern. Do you agree with that?
I absolutely agree. Didn't you help me like craft a few emails like that? So when I was looking for internships a few years ago, I'd send emails to like the CEO, but they were like minimum thought required. So the CEO would get this email, and I'd be very clear, like, hi, I think you're wonderful. This is why. Here's what I can do. Do you need me for anything like in your company? And I made it very clear, like, this is the value proposition of getting me. So instead of them having to think, like, okay, there's this kid. Should I talk to her, figure out what she knows how to do? No, it's like, a cool project. Oh, like, this is fairly important. Have your awesome project, and also have it set up in a way that people can find it really easily and like, access it. That you can send out a link and be like, this is something I've done. It's really amazing. Just having that on your
Do any CEOs read cover letters? That's the thing. Whenever I see cover letters, it makes me think of like really long emails. When you write a really long, like 5-paragraph email, like read like the first sentence and the last. But yeah, if you do like the bullet point, like key takeaways, next steps. Not for like an interview process, but not in the general sense of that.
Okay. And if you ever do the math for what you're looking for, which is an internship, most execs take 6 to 8 weeks. In California, they take, I swear, 8 to 10 weeks of vacation. Okay? You start doing the math, there's only 50 weeks in a year. Almost a fifth of that time is going to be on vacation. They're going to manage an intern from vacation, basically, which is Thursday, Fridays off. Okay? They need a self-starting person who can manage themselves when they're on vacay. I mean, 6 weeks is still a lot of time to take on vacation, and they take the majority of that time in the summertime. So if you keep that in mind.
Yeah. Also, building skills, so make sure you understand the industry. So as far as preparing for an interview or preparing for talking to someone, make sure you're somewhat knowledgeable. Don't go in there and when you first meet someone, you'd be like, what do you do? But when you go in and you're like, oh, you're really awesome, don't go in there and be like, so what was your name again? Like, or what does your company do? Actually, like, research what they do, be somewhat knowledgeable about the space.
And people love their press clippings regurgitated.
Yeah.
they'll take a meeting just to the face of the fact that, hey, I want to meet the guy that was in this like GigaOM article. Okay, I'll meet with you, or I'll take your phone call. Questions? Has this been valuable so far? Medium.
Very helpful.
Yeah, very helpful.
So say you want,
Oh, go ahead.
so you want to get a CS internship, but since we're only freshmen and you've only like taken a couple classes, say by the end of the year I'll probably have taken 107, but is there a way of like marketing yourself just to make yourself more appealing even if you don't have all that experience?
If you did 107 and 103, Professor 107 can like, they have people come to 107 to like recruit.
Yeah.
107 is, you know how to code after 107. After that, it's mostly theoretical stuff.
I can probably partly answer, chip in on that as well. I coded for the summer, and I've only taken 106A, 106B, and 103, which like that, basically. So in my interview for the first one, that was like a technical one. This was one of their engineers, and basically like I kind of, maybe I got lucky, but I answered one, like he had two questions, I answered one of them like okay, and I like nailed the other one. For the rest of the interviews, and like 5 of them, I just kept going like, well, I've already shown what I can do. So like, I just kept like a small success, and then I just like blew that out of proportion. Just like I've shown exactly what I can do. So students and stuff like that.
And if you're doing a CS thing, at least you care about the code working, whereas when you're 30, you just stop caring. And do you guys know the difference? I know that's rude for me to say, but that's just what I threw. The difference between a junior, a third year, okay, and a 30-year-old, the difference has never been smaller in the history of time versus how much a junior knows to how much a 30-year-old knows. I mean, why do you think unemployment's at 10%? Is that rude of me too? I mean, it's just true. I mean, the difference between a third-year person and a 30-year-old has never ever been smaller.
Oh, and something you should do is you should try to TA 106A. I'm serious. The 106A TA list, they get a lot of offers from a lot of companies.
Yeah,
You probably don't want to work with a lot of them because it's kind of spammy, but there are some like jewels in there.
You know, something that's kind of off topic a little bit, but in line with that is, yeah, TAing like CS classes or TAing classes, you become part of this tight-knit community. Like one guy I know, the CEO of Mozilla, who's a student here, he always like talks about how he still is like really good friends with all the TAs for CS, and they're all like top people at Facebook, top people at XYZ companies. I mean, I wish I was a CS TA.
Me too.
That's relevant.
So say I want to get an internship at like a potentially slightly more established firm, such as like if I want to spend a summer doing Facebook or Google or something like that. What are the steps you go through to do that? That would be different from just a start.
You get recs from a lot of people within the company. So, when people are hiring, and they're hiring a bunch of different people, let's take it like this, when VCs are funding startups, yeah, they can talk, they can sit down with the company, they can like them, they can research the market, but nothing's going to be as powerful as someone who's worked with this person for 5 years or knows this person as a friend and can give them a social recommendation. So if you know, I mean, that's kind of the biggest hack, is actually having someone within the company who knows you, who can kind of rep for you, and kind of pushing them to go talk about you.
Especially if they've got like some new area, new piece of whatever, like what's that guy, Eric from Google, who's now on the Facebook mobile team. I mean, do the math, he's gonna have 40 people underneath him, where, I don't know if he went to Stanford Daily, I don't know, maybe, I think his name's Eric, he jumped over from Google. I mean, he's gonna have to do the math, he's gonna have to hire like 40 people or more to do his whole places, whatever thing. And just do that whole barrage campaign access. And he's in Palo Alto too. I think I'd be selling a push more, right? Next question?
What do you guys think in like a balance of academics versus like internship and stuff? Is it worth trying to like double major or try to get like a minor as well? Or is it better to like spend that time doing like more internships or getting more involved in whatever field you're interested in?
In the end, I feel like any additional academic credentials, like filling the requirements for a minor, like doesn't really matter in comparison. I did look at minoring in a few, in like symbolic systems, and there's a lot of like classes that you have to take that may not necessarily be what drew you to that minor in the first place. So I'd recommend just taking the ones that interest you, spending the rest of your time like going after projects that help you, companies that like will increase your knowledge in the field.
I agree. I mean, once again, it goes back to kind of what you're interested in. If you're interested in getting really deep within one subject and you're really passionate about learning a lot about that, then yeah, go for the academic route. But if you want to get kind of a holistic view of stuff, then yeah, internships are good. Or even being part of organizations on campus and actually really delving into those is another huge value. For me, one of the things that helped me the most was actually being very active in the organizations I was in as a leadership position. Because you get to see how organizations are crafted with a very, very constrained resource, which is students' time. And people whose motivations aren't based on money. And if you can learn how to motivate people not based on money when they have a ton of other things to do, when you go into a company where you're paying people money and they have their full time, you're gonna kick ass.
Yeah, that's such a good point.
It's cool. It's a training ground, and there's very little risk associated with it.
Let's go. Could you just repeat that? I'm sorry. I feel like I missed something.
Okay, yeah. So as far as like getting experience in the real world or academics versus activities, internships are great. I think also something that's very valuable is being very active in student organizations as a leadership position. Because if you go in as a leader and you're not just doing what was done before, but you're trying to improve it, you're going to deal with, when you're running a company or working in a company, you're working with people who are full-time, who are getting paid, and there's a lot of like social dynamics you're going to have to figure out. But when you're running a student organization or a leadership position, you're dealing with students who have limited resources, limited time, and you're motivating them not based on money. And if you can motivate people based on like figuring out what their interests are and whatever ways that isn't related to money, as well as figuring out how to deal with limited time when you actually go into a real company, you won't have those constraints, and so you'll be much leaner. Yes, lean startup. Throw the word in there.
So one of the questions I have is that every couple days, or I'm on a bunch of lists where every couple days I see someone send an email saying like, yo, here's an internship, we're looking for a CS dude. Do you think that there's, like at the moment I pretty much blank ignore them. Do you think that there's any value that you can get out of those? Like, should I just follow up and say like, I'm interested in the meet person, or like, what would you do if you get like all those things?
I mean, if you have the time, they sound legit. Like, it would be worth it just to meet them. Who knows where it could lead, like in the future. But if you genuinely don't think it's worth it, then don't do it. A lot of these people are really like Stanford GSB students. I can tell you the template is. I haven't seen any of those. I can tell you the template. Stanford GSB student has a world-shaking idea, needs some code monkey to get it done.
That is so true. That is so true. Yeah. If you just build it for me, then like I'll take all the equity. Whereas I argue that it's easier to be it's easier for a CS major to learn CEO skills than for a CEO to learn CS major skills.
Yeah.
And it's stupid, but it's true.
I'd say like focus on what you're doing and don't do too much like superfluous stuff. If you spend all your time networking, you're not going to get anywhere. But if the networking you're doing is directly related to what you're interested in, then yes, it'll help. I mean, if you have time, but like, I don't know. I wouldn't respond to every single one. If there's one that comes out that's a really cool person, a really cool company that you would potentially want to work for in the future, then yeah, go for it.
The morsel that I get out of that is major in CS and have a bunch of people pay me to work. Next question.
What were your majors and how do you feel that's affected your
the
first?
80s count? Does it major in the 80s count?
Yeah.
I studied mechanical engineering. I love it just because it's money in, money out. Just the 3 laws of thermodynamics. A little bit of money gets lost. Money goes from smart people to smarter people. Little, heat goes like to what? Cold to hot or whatever. 3 laws of thermodynamics. Yeah. Cameron's like, oh my god, literally retarded.
Only sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm currently majoring in MSNE, and I thought that was pretty cool because it's given me a lot of access to like amazing professors who have like really good industry contacts, and I've kind of over the last year and a half been specializing more and more in like online marketing types of things. So on the side, I've been taking a lot of CS, doing a lot of things here and there.
I'm MSNE also, minor in CS, and I mean, I don't think your major at all dictates what you can do. Like, I can code. I haven't really taken that much CS stuff. I can code decently, like, not great. But I know a lot of people who, in whatever field or whatever major they're going in, like, on undergrad, it doesn't really matter. I caveat that with do an engineering major. If you want, I hope I didn't offend anyone, but having some technical skills is good, and it's good more in the sense that you're not going to be able to go into the market and be a superstar right away based on the classes, but just showing you have skills, like technical interest in that, like the stuff you're actually going to learn is going to be outside, and it's going to be in your free time. You're not going to be becoming a coding whiz by doing a bunch of coding classes. You're going to be by doing like extra projects and things for fun. But as far as how it's shaped, I'm really interested in people and in how to motivate people, how organizations work, and how to motivate myself. And so that's why MSNE was most interesting to me. And I also love all engineering stuff. Maybe that answered the question.
Tom, you've been quiet. I mean, we hung out a little bit at startup school.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been enjoying listening to what you guys have to say.
Do you have a startup idea? Is that one of the reasons that motivated you to go to startup school?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of working on something. Yeah.
So you're just going to skip the internship thing and just go right to startup?
No, not necessarily. No, nothing.
Do you like that I'm putting you on the spot a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, just go right to,
Just get right to doing it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I'm like interested in a certain topic, material science and engineering, and I'm wondering if it's better to do research in it or to go with a company and do an internship with them in the summer.
Well, if you're interested in like a very specific topic and you have like a research question, then go do research. That sounds more natural than doing an internship, honestly speaking. Because the internship will do, it probably, if you work for like the genetic, okay, that's kind of different, sorry. If you work for some mat sci company, they'll have their own projects for you to do, which may or may not be like directly related to the topic you're interested in.
I'd say go to, find a company that's doing something in the field and offer to do that research for them. So with like, let me see, what's an example? I'll take SSE Labs. I wanted to learn about entrepreneurship, right? I wanted to know everything about it, and so I did a ton of research that was directly correlated to some goal I had. And so actually, like, if you can find a company that's doing something similar, and you can just ping them and be like, look, I want to do research for you. You'll get that company aspect as well as the research. Might be a hack.
Just sort of a follow up on that, I was wondering, what if you want to do like work with specific people in companies or like specific engineers for specific disciplines? So say like I really want to work on like systems in this company. How can you like get an internship and specify like exactly what you want to do?
That I think it's even awesome that you even have that kind of focus. What are you guys' thoughts?
No. I mean, it's not something that can be guaranteed, right? If they, like, when you're running a company, you don't want too many people. But I would actually caveat that with the best companies have more work than they have people that can do the work. And so if you can find a company that actually needs help in that area, so just networking, just talking with people in that company, and saying I want to help out with this side, and spend some upfront time and find out if that's a need, and if it is, like ask if you can help out with it.
Earlier, Cameron said that somebody was trying to get access to him via a written notepad that was left on his desk. That's really creepy and weird, okay? But if you can get away with doing that, do something along those lines. But if you've got
if you give their assistant a note, that's different than going to their personal.
Yeah, or a package at work.
Or flowers.
The person
Like,
who got the AdWords for people's names, for like CEOs' names. Did you hear about that?
I like that hack too.
Yeah,
that's
he like
great.
bought
That's
ads. He bought Google ads for like CEOs of companies he wanted to work for, names saying like, "Yo, look at my resume and hire me." And some of them, like when they Googled themselves, saw that, and then like he actually got a job.
And then the new way to do that is if you just blog and say, I would like to get access to fill in blank CEO, the keyword Gmail alert goes to the thing. But you were mentioning a gift or flowers.
oh yeah, so I mean, I would say flowers or something like that is kind of something you do as like a thank you. So if you've met someone like if you've met someone like 3 times, 4 times, and they've really helped you out, like feel free to send them like an actual gift. People are really egotistical, and they love like getting that kind of stuff and kind of in showing other people. Larry like gave David Hornick flowers once. I think that was a little overkill. I'm just gonna put you on the spot. I don't know, maybe, but giving maybe like we gave Christine Herron First Round Capital flowers, and she like it's like showing everyone in the office that she got flowers from SSE Labs. So
Gifts, and if the direct gift, Cameron's right. I mean, the direct gift, it takes huge backbone to give a man flowers from another man, right? Over the top. But you know what? The guy's got a dog, okay?
Yeah.
And if the CEO is like worth anything, okay, he's got at least 1 or 2 dogs. Get his dog a gift, a chew toy, and every time that dog's playing with that chew toy that you gave it, that CEO remembers you. Dan gave me a pink thing for Baxter. He doesn't wear it because it's, whatever, but I remember, and it's
Yeah.
like, get the CEO's animal friend.
yeah, I mean it's a lot of extra work. Actually, no, it's not a lot of extra work, but it actually does have a huge impact.
Huge.
Anyone else?
You go ahead.
No.
Alright, so sorry to keep posing all these questions about CS, but for someone who has started at the beginning of a CS background but wanted to break out into more of a management perspective, what kind of position would you look for, I guess, in a company?
You want to break out of it?
I guess like rather than being just becoming a code monkey, which
Coder?
is something that's kind of scary for a lot of people, I suppose.
Project management position,
Project management, that makes sense.
and like a coding framework.
It's like the basic question, but
Yeah, I mean, also once again, I'll reiterate, like join student organizations and be a leadership position, because you'll get management skills.
It's like if you show management skills in like non-academic areas, that can easily be built on later. And honestly, at a lot of startups and tech companies, engineers transition to becoming managers all the time. So if you're looking at that as a career path, you should definitely talk to other people. Yeah.
I have the observation that there's nothing more temporary than a person who's really, really passionate about doing one thing really well. Because when you do one thing really well, you get that momentum of people want to give you other stuff because they over-extrapolate your skills and abilities.
Yeah, and it's, if you're doing like a CS job, CS thing, other things will come up and people will be talking about other like problems they're having and just offer to help out with stuff. Offer to, lead one small little project. And be like, oh, we're, fixing this bug. I'll lead the team in fixing this bug.
John?
Okay, specifically here, and maybe this is different from like the East Coast versus West Coast, but I know like when I was on the East Coast, you always like refer to teachers like professor, doctor, and then here there's kind of this mix-up when, especially when you're meeting professors like you're working with in an organization, and how do you address them? How do you guys like first approach a professor? How do you approach them afterwards? And how do you interact contact with them, like until you get on that friendly basis?
It's hard. What I usually do is I write in an email. I'm like, well, when I'm addressing them as a professor, in an email I'm like, dear professor, and when they respond, if they sign with like Don instead of like dear Professor Donald Humper, like sincerely Don, then I think after like maybe a couple of times back and forth, like call them their first name. And for the most part, people over here don't really care.
If the first name trap, when you're kissing butt, which I do a little bit of, you gotta say Mr. Mike. Oh, call me Mike. Call me, call me Ron. Okay, Mr. Ron. I mean, you didn't call him Ron, but you add the Mr. before, because if you start calling him Ron, okay, you're not on a first name basis with the guy, and then he respects it, and then that's a way to transition where you're also doing something that he says, versus, and it's awkward when, well, it's just. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for coming and for interacting and for setting the goal to get an awesome internship.
Oh, can I make a shameless plug right now?
Sure.
I'm going to do this.
Sure.
So one of the things I do is I'm the business manager at the Stanford Daily. So our business side is always needed people. If you're interested in learning a lot of this like online marketing stuff, which they don't teach at all academically, you should work for me. If you're interested at all in talking to a lot of startups who are into multimedia like Cool Iris and so on, you should work with me. And if you just want to have like a good time, like earn some spare money, you should work for me.
The other thing that I love too about a tech major is if you sprinkle in some sales skills, even a CS major, if you're sprinkling sales skills to a technical degree, you're cross-training where you're being both academically smart and street smart. And one of the street smart things to do is to sell and promote, because it's one of the hardest things to do. So cool. You guys, thank you.
Everybody,